Hey folks, thank you for joining me in another video. On this video I just want to show you a couple new purchases that I've made, and they are, as you see before you, the Zero Tolerance 0561 and the Strider SNG. Let me zoom out and I'll share a little bit more about these two. Now the Zero Tolerance 0561 is sort of the black sheep. It's sort of the prodigal son returning home. This is a knife that, now this is identical. For all intents and purposes, this knife is identical to the Zero Tolerance 0560. The only difference between the two, other than the number, and this is as far as I could tell, correct me if I'm wrong, I looked online and could not find any other information, but besides the model number, the only difference between the two models is that the 0561 has a brown G10 scale and the 0560 has a black G10 scale. As far as I can tell, every other aspect of the knife is identical. Some of you might be noting the look of the cutout or cutaway there on the lock bar at the base, but this varies regardless of if you have the 0560 or the 0561. So you might be thinking that that one doesn't match, and that might be one of the differences. But this is something that varies on every one of the two, every variation of the two models that I've seen. So. But other than that, this is identical to the knife that I had gotten rid of. Now, I talked about this knife and why I thought I probably wouldn't be carrying it, why I didn't really get along with it, and why I would be getting rid of it. And it had a lot to do with the flipper here. And I'm still not very excited about the flipper. And I almost kind of thought, you know, if I ever buy a 0560 or a 561 again, I might just take that little flipper piece and, you know, grind it off or have it professionally ground off. But I got a really great deal on it. Both of these knives came from the same fellow online, Tropic EDC. He gave me a good price for both of them together. I was really happy. And he was also the fellow that I previously had purchased my Sebenza, my large Insingo. Both came from the same guy, and so I'd had a good experience with him once before, and I decided to purchase these two from him because I knew that he was a good, honest, trusted fella. Really happy with the condition when they arrived. They were both in excellent condition. I've actually used both of them a little bit and put a few scratches and a few dents in them right away, which is good, you know, with a good hard use knife like a Strider or a Zero Tolerance. That's what you want. That'd be my cat bumping the tripod. Thank you very much. But yeah, sure enough, as soon as I took this one to work, the first day I took it to work, it crashed on some rocks. I dropped it on a bunch of gravel. You probably can't see it. You have to see it in person, but there's a little dent here, and I notched some of the G10 out on this side. It's got a little bad spot. Yeah, you can't even see it here. It's small. It's not a big deal. I'm not whining. It's just something funny. As soon as I get something nice and new, and the first thing I do is drop it or, you know, bang it against something and dent it up. Anyway, I had previously owned the 0560 and I didn't really care for it, and I thought, you know, he's got it up for a great price. I wanted the Strider too, and I thought, let's give it a second chance. Let me try it again and see what I think of it. And weirdly enough, now I owned the 0560 for a year, actually over a year, I think, before I sold it. So for over 365 days, I had that knife in my possession, and on occasion I would take it out and carry it for a few minutes around the house, open and close it. And I always really liked the comfort of it. As far as the handle size, I think it's fantastic. I can't think of many more large folders that have a more comfortable handle for my hand. You'll often hear people say, it's comfortable in the hand or in the pocket. I always thought that sounded really ambiguous, and it doesn't really mean it's going to be comfortable for everyone. So I always say in my hand. If you ever hear me say that, it means I don't know if this knife is going to be comfortable for you. But the 560/561 just feels perfect in my hand. Just the right size. It's a great work knife. Very similar to the 0560 or 550 that I have here. You can see the blade profile, at least towards the end, is very similar. They've got a very similar belly. And it's perfect for surveying work. It's perfect for clearing lath, erasing, carving up wood, cutting, flagging, all my usual daily tasks. Perfect. So, I liked the blade shape, I liked the handle comfort. Something about the flipper was just driving me nuts. When I would plug this into my pocket, when I would clip this to my pocket, I'm getting distracted listening to my cat clicking a soda can on the counter. I'd put it in my pocket, and the little flipper, that little thing would stick out, you know, in my pocket, and that just kind of bugged me. And you know, I can't really explain what it was that bugged me about it then. It still kind of bugs me about it now. But I did tell myself, this time I'm going to get it. I'm going to carry it at work. I'm going to beat on it. I'm going to use it regularly and really put it through its paces and see what I think. And I've only had it for about a week now, but I've been carrying it often within the last week. I've been carrying it most days to work the last few days. And I'm very happy with the performance. I'm very happy with the lockup. It's solid. It's got a nice heft to it without being too heavy. Clips easily in my pocket. And I think I like it. I think I'll actually keep it. So it's, you know, I guess there's just no accounting for taste or for how often tastes change, because I went from really disliking this knife to being pleasantly surprised with it after I'd given it a fair shake. And I think maybe that was just the case. The first time around, I was just being a little stubborn, a little obstinate. I didn't like it, you know, right off the bat because of the flipper, and I said, I ain't carrying it. And that was a mistake on my part. But, you know, all it cost me was a little bit of time while I replaced my old one with this one, and I couldn't be happier with it, except if maybe the flipper wasn't there. But, you know, that's a small detail. I'm getting past it. I'm getting over it. I love the size and shape, and so I'm going to keep carrying this one for the foreseeable future. I will talk about the deep carry pocket clips. I'm going to make a video on that soon, because that is something that I'm particular about. I know most folks like them. I don't, and I will share with you a little bit more about that in some better detail later on. So let me put this one aside, and then I'll go ahead and show you the Strider SNG, which a lot of you probably been watching saying, I've seen you have a zero tolerance in the past, so let's put that one aside and talk about this bad boy here. Now, again, I got a really nice deal on both of these knives together, and I've been wanting to try a Strider for some time. Now, I've been wanting to try a Strider for, you know, over a decade, but as far as actually making an effort to, you know, once I decided, you know, I'm gonna get one, I'm gonna, you know, hang the cost, I'm gonna put some money aside, I'm gonna figure out how to get my hands on one, I want to try one. That's been very recent. That's probably been within the last several months. And it had kind of built to a fever pitch to where I actually was actively looking online on some forums, and I was looking on Instagram, watching people with sales, and this one came up, the price was right, and I was ready to try it. Now, interestingly enough, this was not the Strider that I wanted for my first one. In fact, I wanted a Strider SMF, which is basically the identical shape, but it's a little bit bigger in all dimensions. I believe it's a little bit thicker. It's definitely longer, and the blade is a little bit bigger. Otherwise, it's identical. They're very similar. Right off the bat, one of the easiest ways to tell an SNG from an SMF is the number of body screws. You'll see here the SNG has 3 screws holding the body together. The SMF will have 4. So if you're ever looking at pictures and you're not sure, there's a quick little tip to help you differentiate the two. The PT, usually the easiest way to tell for me just at a glance, is how giant the clip will look, because they all use the same size pocket clip. So the little baby-sized PT model will have this big old clip that goes halfway across it. Usually makes it pretty easy to spot. This one, just to give you some details, this one is 154 cm, or excuse me, no, CPM 154. I'm always getting those two mixed up. CPM 154, which is a great steel. I've got a few other knives in it. It's not the newest, it's not the latest and the greatest, but it's a good hard-wearing, all-around sort of middle-of-the-road steel. Takes a nice, very sharp edge. It's got a really nice sort of stonewash polish to it. 154 cm and CPM 154, both pretty similar as far as I'm sure. I think, as far as I know, I believe that it's just in how the two steels are produced as far as what differentiates the two. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that they're very, very similar. They're just created using 2 different methods. This is a titanium frame lock, so this side that you see here is called, I think they call it a tiger flamed pattern, or flamed. It's a flamed pattern, and that is titanium. And then of course we have G10. This is a sort of a dark brown G10. I'm not sure of the official color. I think on this one, the ZT, I think it's called Dark Earth. I don't know if it has the same name with Strider or not. There are some issues with Striders in the past. I know some people are very passionate. They're either really big fans or they don't really tend to like them. Some people think they're overpriced. I have not made up my mind yet. I know that just right off the bat, this one is very high quality. There's no lockup or play in either direction. Rock solid, you know, side to side and up and down. The lockup is really nice on it. I think that it's a very secure lockup. I like the shape of it. Now, I've had a buck Strider Tarani, I think that was model 882 in the past that I've shown in some videos, that's almost identical in the shape and the size. And so I already knew that the knife itself was actually very comfortable in my hand. I had no problem with that. And the reason I wanted the SMF is because I did want the bigger blade. So another quick little size comparison. I'll bring that one back out. You can see, just putting them side by side, the ZT is a little bit longer. The ZT, or excuse me, the Strider SMF is going to be a little bit closer to the, I think, the overall bulk of the 561. There comes my cat, Gray Baby. She's got a little stuffed toy in her mouth that she likes to carry around and then announce that she's brought whatever fresh kill, her little toy elephant or monkey that she has with her. Thank you. She just set it down. Sorry for the cat chat there. What else could I say about this? It's a nice thick blade. It's actually very similar. I wish I had my Spyderco Superleaf next to me. I'd show that on here. Although I think I did on my Spyderco Superleaf review, I believe I did show the Buck Strider, which is similar to this, so that'll give you some idea of how those two relate size-wise. But large pivot, very comfortable grip. I like this big, silly, chunky jimping that's at the back of the blade there. I really like the shape of it, and the feel is very comfortable. I like that on this knife there's no hump at the back of the blade, which a lot of Spydercos have, and that I can often get used to. I'll kind of give Spyderco a pass because it's, you know, inherent to the design. They've got the round opening hole, so they usually will make a little bump of steel at the back. But a lot of manufacturers don't need that little bump at the back, and it drives me crazy because when I move my hand up further on a knife to do some detailed work, if I'm doing some little carving or whittling or something, I like to slide my thumb forward on the blade and that little bump gets in the way. But Strider does not have said bump, so I rather enjoy the overall comfort and feel of this knife. It's, the street price, if you go to buy one of these, from your online retailer, pretty pricey, at least as far as my budget is concerned. I won't be buying a lot of these in the future, that's for certain. And in fact, I probably wouldn't have bought this one if I didn't get, at least as soon as I had, if I didn't get the good price, the deal that I got on it. But having said that, getting back to the quality of it, I'm happy with it. I think that at least using this lone sample as my example, I think that Strider Knives produces a very nice quality knife, and I don't really have many complaints. I will carry this. I've been carrying it for a couple days, but I will carry it longer and let you all know what I think of it in better detail in the future, of course. I don't know if I'll do a full review, but I might. But I'll at least share with you some insights into how I feel about the design after I've gotten a little more comfortable with it, and let you know what I think of the the cost, the price of it, because these knives are for most people's budgets, I think these knives are pretty expensive. So that's it, my two new knives. Very happy with both of them. Surprisingly happy with the Zero Tolerance 561, and pleasantly happy with the Strider, because this one I kind of knew I was already going to like this. I don't know if I'll keep this exact model though, because I really do want that big guy, the SMF. So feel free to leave a comment. Let me know what your experiences are with either of these knives. If you don't own one, let me know what you think. If you might want to buy one in the future. The Strider, I'd like to hear people's thoughts on the cost. If you think it's too pricey, or if you you think that they're just right for the money, or are they overpriced. We're obviously all going to have a difference, a different opinion on these sort of topics. So it's not to create an argument or anything, but just to get some discussion going, because that is sort of fresh in my mind right now as I appreciate and enjoy carrying these two new arrivals to my collection. And that's pretty much it. These are the two new kids on the block. I'm really happy to have both of them, and I'd like to carry them some more before I come back and give you my full thoughts on them. But let me know what you all think. Leave a comment below if you like, and I'll hopefully see you here on YouTube or on Instagram. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll talk to you all soon. Bye.